Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of The Vegan Point. I haven't made an episode in a long time just because I felt so much instability in my life. I've had to change jobs, I've moved around, um, back and forth between my apartment and my family's apartment, or house, sorry. It's just like a lot of instability for me. And to be honest, my job is also very mentally and emotionally draining. And like the last thing that I have the energy to do is make a video. There are some days where the only thing I have energy to do when I come home is eat and go to bed, which is really kind of a sad life um, when you think about it. But that's just the reality of my life in the last couple of months. Um, anyway, the reason of making this video is more to help me deal with my emotions that I've had in the past months. Just a lot of things that I've been reflecting on my life, and one of those things is when I've came across videos that have talked about the zero waste movement, and that really made me force myself to think about my own daily practices, um, and made me question things that I never thought about. For example, just thinking of the items that I buy, for example, like lotion bottles, they're all, for the most part, are made of plastic. I have ran into a few that will have a plastic lid, but then they have a glass jar. But it's made me think of what happens to those plastic things after I use them, and I would throw them away in the regular trash can because I don't think I think that my recycling bin only accepts paper and aluminum cans, I think, and maybe plastic water bottles. So I don't think that it accepts those other kinds of plastics. So yeah, it made me think of that. It made me think of when I go eat out and I bring a container home and it's plastic, and like I might use it one other time and then I'll throw it away. Or the silver plastic silverware that I get when you go eat out and you bring it back home. And that just made me think of how I was being wasteful. And when I try to see myself in that I'm trying to do good for the environment, I think that's one of the reasons why I don't eat meat now. My original reason was because I didn't, for the animals themselves. Um, but now what helps me maintain that is that I'm trying to have um, less of a damaging impact. And so, how can I say that I'm like pro environment if I'm in the same category as people that, oh, sorry, people that just throw things in landfills? So, I've been trying to make a couple of changes, small, but I think important, and I think that will help me lead to the lifestyle that I would want in the future. For example, I bought my laundry detergent and I used I used the old plastic container, and I went to go refill it with a different laundry detergent somewhere else. I've um, bought a little glass jar to buy lotion, so I don't buy a plastic container when I run out, or a new container when I run out. I have like bought in like soap bars that come with minimal packaging and or even like package free. So those are very tiny things that I'm starting with, but like I would like to see it in the future where my municipality, or however you say that word, offers composting services. Um, that's what I would like to move towards. Um, I did want to know when that would be coming, especially when you see, like, not that I live in a big city, but like when you see cities like San Francisco that are definitely like so closer than my city to being waste free, like that makes me want to have that in my own city. And that would be ideal. So, but for now, I think that I'm sticking to these smaller things, or like just taking my water bottle instead of buying a new plastic water bottle, like water, every time that I go out. Just small things like that. And, I'm ranting, but these are the things that I've been thinking about. And those things, like, also make me think of what is wrong and how our government is corrupt. And I don't know what it will take to change that. I notice that it's not just for me, but like that many Americans are out there like indebted because of health cost. And then I like hear people on presidential debates saying how Medicare for all shouldn't be because we need a choice, the choice of having a private insurer. Let me tell you something. In my experience, like, if I don't have to deal with a private insurer, that would be great. Like, I've been to so many doctor visits where, like, they won't cover the simplest of things. Especially if you have, like, an HMO versus, like, a PPO. Like, sometimes you can't even, like, see a certain doctor based on that because you're not in network, which is frustrating, and I'm pretty sure it's frustrating for other people that need to see specialists for serious things. And I think that brings me back to like and this all sound random to you, anybody listening, but it's just what I've been thinking, and maybe my thoughts are just like they zoom in and out of each other, which like makes me think of how the food industry is corrupt. And sometimes I feel like they are like collaborating with each other. Like the food industry makes you unhealthy, and then the medical industry, especially private insurance, profit from that because the more sick people there are, the more money they have in their pocket. And that's just what it is. And some people might not agree that it's corruption, but I think that's corruption where, like, at the end of the day, you don't think about the needs of the society and you just think about, like, making more money. And you profit off sick people, and you, like, the food industry is the perfect way to keep people sick. Especially when it's full of chemicals, when antibiotics, where people that eat meat will eat unknowingly to them, they'll eat animals that were sick or that have like tons of antibiotics in them, and you become what you eat. And if you eat a sentient being that was pumped up with antibiotics, then yeah, those things are going to transfer to you. It would only make sense. Like, take how like a lot of fish in the ocean are ingesting plastics, and when you eat those fish, you're eating what they've ate. And if they're eating plastic in the long term, it cannot be good for you. And yet the meat industry is very subsidized, and we live in a country where it's like, in parts of the city where it's cheaper to go to a McDonald's and buy off the dollar menu than to eat healthy. And that's just wrong. And to me, that's just sickening, because then again, it's making people sick, which makes them have to go see doctors and deal with insurers that won't cover anything or won't cover certain things that you need. And sometimes these are like life and death things. Like I keep hearing stories just on YouTube, from different YouTube media, where a lot of people have died from not having access to health care. And then that just makes me think that they're like politicians are all on this, the healthcare industry is in this, the food industry is in this, and they're all in it. And we're the ones that suffer, and we're the ones that get sacrificed. Which brings me to another, again, random point. It was a little bit disappointing to hear Cory Booker on the topic of climate change, where he was asked what he would tell his constituents, if he would tell his constituents to go plant-based. And I don't remember the exact answer, but I remember feeling disappointed, because if you are a vegetarian or if you are vegan, you should encourage your constituents to eat a plant-based diet, just because you won't have to deal with eating fish who ate plastic, or you won't have to eat animals that were sick and pumped up with antibiotics to make them bigger. And you're eating hormones. And that's why we have that whole antibiotic resistance thing going on. So I felt his answer was just not good enough for somebody who allegedly says that they're a proud vegetarian or vegan. I'm not sure which one he is. I thought it was vegetarian, but in the debate they said vegan. But whichever one he is, it doesn't matter. The point of the fact is that he should be trying to encourage his constituents and should be outlining the reasons as to why it'd be best. And they should also be addressing food deserts. And I don't know if I heard that during this last third debate. I was also, which brings me to Elizabeth Warren, which also disappointed me, because she was saying, yeah, people can switch their light bulbs, and we're not gonna and I don't know. She just made it seem like the agricultural business, especially within the meat and dairy industry, are not culprits of the climate change, when they are. It just felt like she minimized the role of that industry in the climate change, and I don't know, that was disappointing. Maybe for other people it was a fine answer, but for me it's just not good enough, especially when we know that the climate change is real, when we know that it is definitely the meat and dairy industry contributing heavily to climate change, and where we're already starting to see the impact of climate change, and yet you won't acknowledge that this industry is one of the biggest contributors. I don't know, that was just very disappointing. Yeah. So I feel like I probably had more random thoughts in my head, but these are the things that I are coming out at the moment. So I think I'll end the video here, and I will see if I make more videos in the future. Because I am trying to, in my need to go to become zero waste, I want to use up things that I've had, and makeup is definitely one of those things where I just bought and bought and bought, and like I only use every so often, um, which made me think of like this consumerist society where we are in, where we think that more is better, but it isn't. None of those things are going to end up in landfill. So I'm going to try to use those things up, and definitely haven't bought makeup in like a long, long time. Um, but I have so much eyeshadow that I need to use it, and I would like to make a future video on my eyeshadow collection, and hopefully like use more up of it, and make videos of um, like showing how I'm decreasing my makeup collection. And I hope to be able to use it all up, and have a minimal collection, and have a more and have sustain how do you say it, have more of a zero, or maybe not zero waste, but like a plastic free makeup. I have in the past looked at LA Cosmetics, but I just never bought anything because I wanted more colorful colors. But I think now that I'm moving towards this, becoming um, more conscious of what I'm buying, um, I think that's the direction I'm going to be in. If I, when and if I use up all my makeup, and if I don't end up using it, I'll probably have to donate because some of it is like barely used. Yeah, which also makes me think of just like how much like clothing people have, and fast fashion, and like for me, like I've kept items, clothing that don't even fit me anymore because I've gained a lot of weight in the last couple of months, and I still keep them in my closet when I should just go donate them, or should go have them recycled if I don't think that they're wearable anymore. So yeah, I did send a lot of things to the H&M recycling program, but I didn't get they give you a waiver for like a 15% discount or something, but I didn't accept, or I didn't take it because I don't buy from there. It's really expensive for me, especially when I have like I have student loan debt to worry about, or just like each time that I see a doctor is very pricey for me. So even when it's just like something minor, so I can't even afford H&M clothing at the moment, um, especially when I have those things to worry about. Um, or I have like, yeah, which makes me upset about student debt. It feels like crippling. It's like I can't buy my own home. I can't like buy a new car that I need. Like I can't do much. Oh, it's frustrating. And then, but yet, like we have a system where we bailed out the auto industry and other industries. Again, like when certain foods is being subsidized when it's not even healthy for you. But yet, I have to, like, I don't have access to certain things that many people are, like having their own home. So, again, it makes me think of how corruption is embedded in our system. And there's a lot of politicians that benefit of this corruption, especially in the agribusiness industry, where there are some Democrats that benefit off of that, but there's definitely a lot more Republicans that benefit off the pain of sentient beings, and the pain of the people that get sick because of eating of sentient beings, and the malpractices in that industry. Which made me think of this documentary I saw from Al Jazeera, where they talked about the food industry in China, and how there's fake food where pretty much, like I saw in the documentary, how this guy made noodles out of just pure chemicals and some flour that had chemicals in it, and it looked pretty real to real noodles. And those things had like chemicals that were used for jet fuel. Borax, I think, was mentioned in that video. Oh, which once again like brings me to like how this our food industry in America is like filled with processed foods, filled with lots of chemicals that we don't know the long-term consequences of, but yet these things are cheaper than eating something that is actually good for you. Ugh, I'm sorry that this rant has gone for like 20 minutes, and I had said I don't know how many minutes ago that would be done, but I'm just like throwing out all my random thoughts, unfiltered. But yeah, I think this is the end of my video. Thank you if you've stayed for this whole rant, and we'll see you on the next one.